Welcome to Grow Overload. I'm Anthony, and here's some of my thoughts about Intel's CES announcements. I did not watch their automotive one. Sure, automotive is a thing, but I'm more focused on the client side. They've been doing automotive stuff for a while, so it's still there. If you want to go check it out, you can watch that one. I figured I watched enough of Intel's CS announcements for everybody, and I was put through it enough that I didn't want to watch anymore. It was very dry overall. Even these announcements are getting worse. Maybe, there's so much talk with AI. Maybe AI will be able to make them more enthusiastic, more interesting. Maybe we could even have AI ask some of the questions as well. The, Intel went off into AI. This is the year of AI PCs. Well, okay, that could be. We've been talking, Intel's like, we're so much AI here. AI is the buzzword. AI has been the buzzword for the last 6 months. Just look at anybody's financial statements here at their earning calls. It's kind of what it's been. But um, I mean, Intel just talked a lot about AI. I mean, uh, they said AI for good. Is this going to be the same thing like Google's don't do evil? All of a sudden they'll remove the for good part. It'll just be AI evil. Um, there's some of those sort of things that pop in my head, hilariously. And now I do think that Intel really wants to try to put AI in the best foot forward, right? They are competing with NVIDIA and AMD right now, and eventually Qualcomm. I don't know where Qualcomm's NPU is at this time, but the CPU and GPU side of processing AI, along with the NPU, you're kind of noticing that they put this tops number, and this tops number, while it is a comprehensive number, it includes the GPU and the CPU side, along with the NPU. Now, the NPU really is the only dedicated part to the processing of AI, while others, do will take away from maybe other processing power or processing of of other tasks. Let's say you're playing a game and you need to run AI there, right? You have to offload and you have to do that sort of thing. But is AI PCs a selling point? Um, I don't know. While it is a nice to have to be able to do that processing local, to be able to have that calculations local, because there's some models that will never go to the cloud or never be on. And I actually think it's a good idea to have, local stuff only, that is processed locally. There's also a time and a place for cloud stuff, and there's also a hybrid. There is a environment that will always be accessible, I think, in all of those three. Well, in doing so, though, does that make these PCs with the Intel Core Ultra a selling point with the AI that you want to go and upgrade your PC? Now, this is not the desktop 14th gen. This is not the laptop 14th gen that they announced. That's for performance mobile gaming. That's not with with these ultras, the new naming scheme, the Core Ultras that Intel has come out with the NPU. This is, are you going to go out and buy a laptop for it? Now, probably in the tech community, there's probably going to be more people wanting to do that. But I'm thinking about, my parents, my family members, people that ask me, should I get a new computer? Is this a selling point for a new computer or not? And I'm kind of leaning towards of not, right? The computer isn't doing something that they need it to do. And until AI is able to bring that, so you're gonna need the software to, the front ends and stuff to be able to enable that, so people want the hardware to be able to do it. And that's kind of where I'm thinking, they had Microsoft Copilot up there. I don't think Microsoft Copilot is in a position to demand, you get a new computer. I mean, yeah, it's on the keyboard, but I don't think it's there in that position. And even then, it wasn't, that big of a deal. Now, they also talked about the what MSI Claw. They're like, there's going to be a whole bunch of new devices and new form factors, and then they came out with the MSI Claw, and I realized it's a Steam Deck, just by MSI, right? A little bit different here. I'm like, come on, Intel. We've already had that form factor out. Your processor, and they were talking about the Core Ultra, it's not enabling a new form factor. I was expecting a new form factor, like, oh, you've got something new and innovative there, kind of like when these form factors first started showing up, when the Surface first started showing up. Nope, it's more of the same. Disappointing, right? Because I am, the one that's looking at, oh, something great and new, and Intel let me down there. But you know, what do you mean when you're bringing in these new form factors? Is it just a new updated, right? They had Dell on stage and Dell talked about, oh, we have an OLED edge to edge device, with the Core Ultra in here, right? And I don't necessarily think that that is a new, form factor, new design, right? It's an improvement on the laptop design. I'll give you that. It's just not, you've put an OLED screen on it. You've put the new processor in it, right? You did those things. You didn't create a whole new form factor, and that's there. And it did seem like I've watched AMD's, NVIDIA's, and Intel CES presentation. To me, it seemed like there was more partners at the AMD one, especially with the AI stuff, and that with Intel being so partner driven and focusing on that, I'm kind of curious of why Intel didn't force more of that on there. Uh, Intel then started to mention that they are going to bring Arrow Lake to gaming CPUs with the AI, and I actually like to see that side of things. That'll probably force AMD to make that decision to drive AI into their processors, if they haven't decided to already. Right, we got Zen 5 that's going to be coming out later this year. Does AMD do this, or is Intel going to be able to have a selling point for that when the, Arrow Lake gaming CPUs come out? Right, that was their one thing that they talked about there on stage with the Arrow Lake side stuff on the desktop side. Then they talked about Lunar Lake and the mobile processor there. That they're talking about the mobile processors. They held it up and they said that'll have 3x performance in AI. So they're improving it, but that is a combination of the GPU and NPU performance will be 3x for the AI calculations. And they also said the CPU will have IPC improvements. I hope so. I think if you've watched some of my other videos from before, I've said when other companies have said there's IPC performance, I'm like, I hope so, right? You have a new processor out. That's one thing we do want to see, and that's where it is now with Intel. I can't believe they said this. I really can't. Intel said Intel AI just works. Well, I will say this, Intel, when it doesn't work, and there is always a possibility, and it will always happen, that it won't work. I've been in software long enough to understand that sometimes it just doesn't work with hardware, software, whatever else, right? I've been developing long enough. You just don't say certain things like that, especially on stage where everyone can go back and clip it. So, yeah, it'll be pointed out that it doesn't work at some point, and Intel will be like, "Ah, why do we say that?" But that's kind of the gist of Intel CES 2024. A quick little rundown, a lot of AI. For me, I still consider AI as a assistive intelligence. It is an assistive technology to me to be able to, it's an extension of what I want to do to help me get my work done in a more efficient manner. I don't consider it at the point of fully artificial. While it can do some quite amazing things, I use it more assistively than just being a full intelligence. And there is a lot that is going to come with that, and probably improvements to it to make it more effective here in the future. It's just not there. And if you're going to call this year the year of the AI PC, which you kind of, when you went with the partners that were up there, Dell, Lenovo, Microsoft, they're really pushing this AI and talking about, an AI PC. Is that something where people want to jump into and go buy, or is the AI PC maybe when software matures a little bit more, and that's 2025, 2026, and that's the year where AI PCs kind of take off, because that's where it's more useful, right? And my positioning isn't concrete of where I sit with AI. I think it's more of it will change as AI changes and becomes more important and stuff like that. I do hope that Intel, with these improvements, is probably going to be what Battle Mage GPU and stuff coming out and having those performance. Hopefully, we see leaps there, that they are in a more competitive state against AMD and against NVIDIA in those scenarios, right? Hopefully, they keep pushing the CPU envelope, having the NPU envelope, so that there is a more competition on this. And while I think that CES has a place, I felt like this year overall, right? We got the supercars. We kind of already knew a lot with that. AMD kind of put the 8000 G series. We had just a little bit on. Hey, we got the 14th gen mobile gaming chips. We knew those were coming, right? It was you saw the MSI Claw, which yeah, everyone else has everyone else has the competing device. This one just happens to use Intel, right? Hopefully that also helps their drivers out, right, and improves their drivers even more, because it's a smaller device. You're able to hone in and make sure you're getting all of that. It just felt like all three, the big three there, NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel, just didn't you know weren't so they kind of fell short, these CES announcements. I guess that's the best way to put it. So, we'll see. I'm going to go through some of the monitor stuff next. Probably I'll record that video tomorrow and get that out to you as well. Because, a lot of that stuff I felt like was way more interesting. The TV monitor, OLED, 4K, 144 hertz, a 4K screen that can also go 1080p at a higher frame, or higher refresh rate. A lot of that stuff I felt like was more interesting than what these AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel did. So let me know what your thoughts are on this, on their processors. Are you going to get an AI PC, or you're just going to wait till you build one that comes with whatever you upgrade you're building in your desktop, etc. So let me know what your thoughts are on this. I want to thank you guys so much for helping support Gray Overload and helping this channel grow. I really appreciate it. Watching the channel grow the last couple months has been really humbling, even more so than just what I've already been doing. I really enjoy seeing it grow, and I hope to be able to help more of you out. If you have, especially if some of your comments on some of the other one, you know, computer ones, of building a motherboard, of hey, does it have this, or even I'm running into this issue. I try to help out as much as possible, so I do appreciate that. It's very fun for me to see, as creating in this channel, to kind of talk tech and then also help people with it, and I like it. So with that, thank you so much for supporting, liking, subscribing, hitting the bell icon. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, God bless.